Please stand.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for all the many blessings that you have given us, Lord. I pray that you will be with us in this council chambers today as we conduct the business of this city of Bossier City, and we pray that you will be with each of us as we leave from here. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag and join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Montgomery?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Hammonds?
Here.
Mr. Darby? Absent. Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Free?
Here.
Mr. Maggio?
Here.
In accordance with Louisiana Open Meetings Laws and the adopted Bossier City Council Meetings Rules Resolution, the City Council asks for order and decorum at our meetings. Please silence your cell phones. Anyone wishing to address the council on any agenda item may approach and state their name and address for the record shall be permitted 3 minutes to make their comments on the particular items that's up for discussion with up to 4 speakers per side. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or who shall become boisterous while addressing the council shall be forthwith by the President pro tem, barred from further audience before the council, unless permission to continue be granted by majority votes of the council. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any member thereof. No questions shall be asked a councilperson or the mayor except through the meeting chair. All other audience members are asked to observe the meeting. City Council has appointed the city marshals as sergeant at arms, and they have become instructed to maintain decorum and ask anyone in violation to step out of the meeting.
Any announcements? Do we have any ceremonial matters or recognition of guests today? No? Okay.
No, sir.
All right, council, we need a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Any questions about the agenda, council? Any questions from the audience?
David Crockett, 653 Dumaine Drive, Bossier City, Louisiana. We don't normally get an opportunity to make comments during the financial section at the end, so I thought I would pose an issue that I'd like to see somebody in the council maybe address. I do see that...
Mr. Crockett,
Yes.
let's get through the agenda of the meeting first.
Okay, I'm trying to...
I will address you after this, when we get to that.
Okay, so you don't... When will you give me a
I
chance
will
to...
call you up when we start that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Wes Marriott. I'm here on behalf of the Republican Party of Louisiana, the Republican State Central Committee. Myself and Ms. Newbert have
Your
traveled here.
address.
Your name and address.
The Republican Party of Louisiana is based out of Baton Rouge. My personal address is 211 Shadow Ridge Drive.
Thank you.
We did reach out. You're very welcome. We did reach out to the mayor's office, and we wanted to provide you with a resolution that was unanimously passed in Baton Rouge at our last meeting. I have a copy here for you. This is a resolution congratulating the Bossier Term Limits Coalition and calling for the Bossier City Council to send the proposed charter amendment to the voters without delay. Since we weren't recognized as ceremonial guests, I'll go ahead and read it now so you can add it to the agenda. Whereas the citizens of Bossier City have expressed a strong desire for term limits on the positions of mayor and city council to ensure accountability and fresh perspectives in local government, and whereas the Bossier Term Limits Coalition has demonstrated significant dedication and effort in advocating for this cause, and whereas the coalition successfully collected over 3,400 signatures on the term limits petition, reflecting broad support from the community, and whereas these signatures represent a clear mandate from the citizens of Bossier City for the implementation of term limits for their local elected officials, and whereas Bossier City Mayor and conservative Republican Tommy Chandler has fully endorsed the term limits movement, and whereas the principles of limited government and citizen representation are core values of the Louisiana Republican Party, and whereas it is in the best interest of Bossier City to respect and uphold the democratic process by allowing its citizens to vote on this important issue, therefore be it resolved that the Louisiana Republican Party congratulates the Bossier Term Limits Coalition on their successful petition campaign and their commitment to promoting good governance. And be it further resolved that the Louisiana Republican Party calls upon the Bossier City Council to promptly send the proposed charter amendment to the voters, allowing them to decide on the implementation of term limits for the mayor and city council members. And be it finally resolved that the Louisiana Republican Party reaffirms its support for measures that enhance accountability and citizen participation in government, and stands with the citizens of Bossier City in their pursuit of meaningful term limits for their local elected officials. Resolved, this 17th day of August, year of our Lord 2024, in the great state of Louisiana, by the unanimous vote of the State Central Committee of the Republican Party of Louisiana, and presented to the Bossier City Council on August 27th, 2024. And I'll hand all these copies to the mayor. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. And for the record, Mr. Jacobs, we're preempted from corresponding or returning any type of conversation due to pending litigation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Just for the record.
Say that to you, Mike, would you, David?
What's
Say
that?
say that into the mic, will you, so we can hear?
I'll let Mr. Jacobs.
Okay.
Well, you're going to have, I believe there's a resolution on the, and again, there's a resolution, I believe it's the last item, or one of the second to last items on the agenda concerning the mayor's resolution to send this to the voters. And I don't think you're precluded from making any statements, you know, concerning term limits if you wish to. However, I would, the council is represented by an attorney. Or certain members are, and then I believe certain other members are and the mayor are represented by an attorney. And of course, I have a conflict in the matter, as I've stated earlier, but I would just say that everybody needs to follow the advice of their counsel, you know, as to making any statements, you know, concerning the issue or not concerning the issue, or whatever their counsel has advised them to do. That's why everybody has an attorney, and I believe the matter is set for September 6th at 9:30 in front of Judge Self at the Benton Courthouse.
Well, then I'll clarify. I've been advised by counsel not to discuss this matter due to pending litigation. It's been that way for 23 years.
All right,
But as
we-
Mr. Jacobs said, you're free to speak at your will.
yeah. All right, we need let me see, we approve the minutes.
We need a vote on
Sorry?
the
Vote
agenda.
on the agenda.
There's a motion in a second, I believe.
Yeah, to approve the minutes. Who made the motion?
There's a
I
motion
did,
by
and
Mr.
Okay, who's
Mr.
second?
Hammond's was
Okay, you
second.
got that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right, council, please cast your vote.
The stickers popped up. Motion carries.
What's she saying?
Motion carried.
Okay. We got any bids?
No, we need to approve the minutes.
Approve the minutes.
Oh, yeah, approve the minutes of the August 13, 24 regular council meeting and dispense with the reading.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Second.
Mr. Smith, were you the one to make the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
You
Second by
make the
Mr.
second?
Hammonds.
Mr. Hammonds?
Yes, ma'am.
Comment?
Is it gonna pop up or what?
Comment? Have you done the comment?
Oh, do we have any comments from the audience? Any comments from the council? Council, please cast your vote.
Motion carries.
Do we have any bids today?
Yes, sir, we have 2 bids.
Witness opening of sealed bids for P24-06 municipal building chiller number 3 replacement.
Good afternoon, council. Today, we're opening bids for bid P24-06 municipal building chiller number 3 replacement. There were 3 addenda on this project. The engineer's estimate is $450,000. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Dina's not here, so we're a little discombobulated. This bid is from Boyer's Mechanical Service. They acknowledged the addendums. They attached a check for their bond, and his total base bid was $405,000. No alternatives were listed.
The second bid is Premier Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors Incorporated.
They acknowledged
They acknowledge the addenda.
all three addenda. They have a bid
They have a bid bond. And the bid is $448,000.
One more.
The third bid is the Payne Company. Bid bond is included. And the addenda is included. The bid is $410,000. I ask that you approve the reading of these bids.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
We have another bid.
Our second bid is a demolition bid.
Mr. Montgomery, who made the second?
I did.
Mr. Smith. Public comment? Did you do public?
Do we have any public comment? Council, any questions? Please cast your vote.
Has it popped up, council?
There it is.
Motion carries. Witness opening of sealed bids for demolition of bid 735-2024, 1711 Green Street.
Today, we are opening the bids for 1711 Green Street. There were no addendums. The administrative court recommended demolition of the structure as soon as legally possible at the July 16th, 2024 meeting.
They've included a check as their bond for this job. We only had one bid.
The first bid, the only bid is Eagle Industries LLC in the amount of $16,913. Is that it? I ask that you approve the reading of these bids, this bid.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the audience?
Okay.
Are we just not getting a lot of people bidding on the demolition anymore? Is that,
It seems to be the same ones every time, and I don't know if the asbestos, when those do, that
Yeah.
narrows down who can bid.
yeah, Yeah, I mean, I know the mitigation process could be very, very costly, so. All right.
All right, council, please cast your vote.
Mr. Smith, are you again?
Yay.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, new business.
Adopt an ordinance amending ordinance number 133 of 2018 by changing the zoning classification of certain tract of land being 5.305 acres more or less from RA to RLD located north of Rosie Lee Drive and west of Long Street Place, Bossier City, Louisiana, for a proposed single-family residential development, Parkway Place. First and final reading.
So moved.
Second. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kurt Nixon with Nixon Engineering, just representing, it's a small subdivision infilling area there on Rossi Lee.
Council, any questions for Mr. Nichols?
Yeah, I do. I've been, my phone has been blowing up over this. And probably it's going to be for Carlotta and Mr. Rauschenbach if they want to come up. The one main concern that people calling about, one, the narrowness of Rossi Lee with adding more traffic, houses backing out onto Rossi Lee Drive. I know that we've had it in the plan for a while at the entrance of Rossi Lee and 71 to get that entrance fixed before this subdivision goes into place with, I guess, 21 more houses going on Rossi Lee Drive. The widening of that entrance and fixing the culvert, I think Mr. Rich is aware of the problem that we have down there at the entrance. School buses fall off into it all the time. Anything larger than a 16-foot trailer falls off the side of that entrance. And another question that I've gotten from a lot of people, maybe if we can look into some striping or something like that on Rossi Lee Drive, just to give the road a little bit of division, on an east and west corridor right there, if that could be an option too, before this development gets a little bit further along. I know that basically what they've been doing is the grubbing and cleaning out and everything like that from the hassles that own the property. So that is one of the main concerns of the people down there in that district. So I guess that's a yes to everything. That's pretty good.
Carlotta, you had anything to say?
No, I'm assuming that the striping can be done. We don't have any regulation over public city streets, so I'd have to refer to Ben or Wade on that.
Okay. Speaking of the devil, there he is.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. The entrance of Rossi Lee onto 71 is included in the 24 asphalt overlay program. We're just about finished with the plans now. Fixing that entrance onto 71 and then that intersection there on Rossi Lee where it intersects with Lily.
Okay.
So that will be done, I would assume, way before you get the housing development finished in there.
Okay. Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brian, you satisfied with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Ben, you got anything you want to say?
I'll get with you.
Okay.
And Carlotta and I'll work on if there's other things we need to be doing out there. We
Okay.
can take care of it.
All right. Thank you.
Let Mr. Nixon, you got anything you'd like to say? Anything else? Okay. We got, somebody wants to talk right there. Just state your name and address, please, sir.
Ronald Cheatham, 1923 Rossi Lee Drive. I'd like for them to check the flood situation because my place floods every time we have a big rain. And there used to be, behind Southern Gardens houses and between my property, there used to be an easement. everybody in Rossley has moved their fence back to mine, which is 10 foot, or 8 foot, I think is what it actually is. So the easement is gone. And like I say, I'm tired of getting flooded. I want to be sure that this new adding is taken care of as far as getting rid of the water. Thank you.
Brian, you know anything about that one?
Yeah, probably for Mr. Nixon, are y'all, I mean, I know y'all are bringing dirt in down there, I mean, because it's low back in there. We developed the subdivision right behind you, Cypress Place.
Okay.
So we had to bring, a tremendous amount of dirt in back there. What do you, I mean, do you have a drainage plan set up for this particular?
We haven't done the detailed
Okay.
portion, because right now we're just rezoning, and then they're just doing the 7 pieces on the front.
Okay,
But if you look at the master plan, then we plan a big detention in that back corner. Where
Okay.
it ties into the ditch. Because everything on their property, Mr. Hassel's old property, drains back towards that, northwest corner.
okay.
And so that's where we're gonna dig out a big detention pond, and actually, that's where most of the dirt's gonna come from. So we're gonna dig it out on site and then move it.
Okay, are y'all doing curb and gutter?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
it'll be curb and gutter.
All right. I think with them doing curb and gutter, Mr. Cheatham, I think that will take care of most of your problems, because everything else on Rossley Drive is an open ditch. So with them doing curb and gutter in the retention pond, I don't think that you will have any problems. I think it may even help your problems that you're having on your place down the street. With them putting the retention pond in, most of that water that's coming down Rossi Lee is gonna be held in the retention pond, so I think that will actually help you.
That ditch he's talking about comes right to the fence. It should have come, or should come someday down that easement that was
On the backside. All right, maybe I can get with Mr. Rich, and we can go back there and look at that ditch and make sure it doesn't need to be cleaned out or anything like that, and to alleviate the problems coming down there onto your property.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nixon.
Is there any other questions? Council, any questions? All right, please cast your vote.
Motion carries. Adopt an ordinance to declare that emergencies did exist in city of Bossier which affected property, public health, and safety due to the requirement to repair and replace the influent gravity sewer manholes in connection to the Manos lift station that collapsed at a cost of $526,000 to come from sewer capital and contingency funds. First and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the audience? Council, any questions? Please cast your vote. There you go.
Mr. Free? Mr. Maggio?
Who has
Yeah,
it?
mine's showing too.
Every day, Mr. Maggio?
You.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. Introduce an ordinance to contract with Hive Associates, Inc. to provide FEMA Community Rating System Program Analyst Services associated with the National Flood Insurance Program. First reading.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the audience? Council, any questions? Please cast your vote.
Motion carries. Adopt a resolution authorizing the hiring or promotion of superintendent of maintenance and backfilling any position this may create for Parks and Recreation. First and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, council? Any questions from the audience? Council, please cast your vote.
Motion carries. Adopt a resolution authorizing the hiring or promotion of an accounts clerk due to termination and backfilling any vacant position this may create in the customer service department. First and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions from the audience? Any questions from the council? Please cast your vote.
Motion carries. Adopt a resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in the city of Bossier City, state of Louisiana, to vote upon the adoption of amendments to the current city charter of the city of Bossier, making application to the State Bond Commission and provide for other matters in connection therewith. First and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Questions from the audience?
David Crockett, 653 Dumaine Drive, Bossier City, Louisiana. Mayor, thank you for putting the resolution on the agenda again, and I hope you keep it going as we go through this process. We appreciate it. The second thing I wanted to mention is, since there is a Bossier, or there's a term limits component to the Charter Commission, I wanted to just name the names of the people that were nominated. I hope you'll indulge me for that. Paul Peak, from he lives in the Mr. Williams area. Jeff Lee from Maggio's area. Mike Lombardino, I think he's in South Bossier. And then Debbie Martin, who lives also in Maggio's district. I think it's unfortunate that we don't have anybody from Mr. Darby's district, but I know that that was because people didn't put forward their resumes, so I appreciate that. But I also wanted to say that it's intuitively obvious, and this, of course, isn't legal advice. I would be the most inept person at giving you legal advice, but any two of you could change your vote today, and a lot of these legal fees would go away. I'm not saying that that's the only reason to do it, but any two of you could change, and I believe that I've already mentioned once before, I don't like to be repetitive all the time, but I have talked to so many people in each and every one of your districts, and I think that one of the missed components of this is many of you have run unopposed in many, many recent elections, and maybe you don't know your district as well as the people who walked each and every street that we could walk just about to try to get signatures. And I appreciate your comment earlier that you're not running again, but I believe that the people of Bossier City just need the opportunity to vote on this, and I think that we can take the, and then at that point, if anybody wants to argue about this, once this is either passed or fails by the people, then that would make that an individual issue where the city doesn't necessarily have to pay two lawyers to fight this. So anyway, I appreciate your opportunity to comment. I hope you'll seriously consider this and think about the number of people in your districts who truly support term limits. But thank you.
I will comment on one thing you said. It's not our problem that people doesn't run. I mean, we go to qualify to the Benton, and nobody else qualifies, so.
Well,
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, let me just make a quick comment about that. One of the reasons that people don't run, and you can find this in study after study, is when you have people that have been in for years and years and years, and there is a cost and a risk to run and all those things, but when they see that there's an opportunity, we already know people in at least two of the districts, if not three, that are already making decisions to run because they see term limits on the horizon. So I think you're going to get increased participation from the public. I really appreciate your question about that. You're not going to have a problem getting people to run. I promise you that. So, but thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
West Marriott, 211 Shadow Ridge Drive. Gentlemen of the Bossier City Council, once again, we gather not out of desire, but of sheer necessity, a necessity fueled by your continued flagrant disregard for the will of the people. This council, a body that should be the bedrock for this community, has instead become a symbol of contempt for those it was elected to serve. Twice now you have found yourselves embroiled in litigation for failing to uphold the law, a lawful petition, mind you, that you are duty-bound to address. Mayor Chandler, your effort to bring this resolution forward is noted, and thank you again for reminding this obstinate council. Let's be clear, this is not about placing a referendum on the ballot. This is about the very heart of democracy being trampled underfoot by political elites who seem to believe they are above the law. The Bossier Term Limits Coalition followed every rule, collected every signature, and on July 25th, the Registrar of Voters certified the petition. And what has this council done in response? Nothing but stonewall, confuse, and delay. This is dereliction of duty and malfeasance of the highest order. The city charter is unequivocal. Upon receiving a certified petition, this council shall, without veto, pass an ordinance sending the petition to the voters. Not maybe, not possibly, shall. But instead of following the law, we see Councilman Montgomery running around lawyer shopping like a desperate man clinging to the last vestiges of
Williams?
power.
Hey,
Allegedly, when local attorneys wouldn't take up.
Mr. Marriott,
Yes, Mr. President.
there's no need to say what you said about Mr. Montgomery running around.
Hey,
We haven't run
well,
around.
Can
okay?
I request that we read the rules of decorum for Mr. Marriott, please? He didn't seem to get it the
Mr.
first
President,
time.
before you make a ruling on the point of order, which I'm assuming this is a point of order, I would like to state that Acosta.
You're not in charge. I'm
Are you going to
asking
make a rule?
Mr. Williams.
Hold on, we're going to read them one more time so you understand, okay?
Sure. Before you make the
We've
ruling
got
on point of
another
order, I would like
gentleman
to speak.
speaking from the audience. If you want to come to the mic, you're more than welcome, and state your name and address
I
for
could
the
have
record.
finished by now.
No.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Williams, could we have the rules read again?
Yeah.
In accordance with Louisiana open meetings laws and the adopted Bossier City Council meeting rules resolution, the city council asks for order and decorum at our meetings. Please silence your cell phones. Anyone wishing to address the council on any agenda item may approach and state their name and address for the record, and shall be permitted 3 minutes to make their comments on the particular items that's up for discussion, with up to 4 speakers per side. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks who shall become boisterous while addressing the council shall be forthwith by the President Pro Tem, barred from further audience before the council, unless permission to continue be granted by majority vote of the council. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any member thereof. No question shall be asked a council person or the mayor except through the meeting chair. All other audience members are asked to observe the meeting quietly. City Council has appointed the city marshals as the sergeant at arms, and they have been instructed to maintain decorum and ask anyone in violation to step out of the meeting.
Mr. President,
Thank
before
you.
you make a
Hold on.
ruling on your point of order, could I state that Acosta v. City of Mesa, Ninth Circuit Federal Court 2013, members of the city council shall not, by disorderly interruptions or disturbing speech, delay, interrupt, or disturb proceedings of that council. I would just like to say that it appears that this council body is in the business of interrupting, something you seem quite fond of. Just because these claims do not make friendly accusations against members that are on the dais, the comments are addressed to you, Mr. President. They will contain the names of council members, as is my First Amendment right.
Okay,
The First Amendment.
Your time's running, so is this,
Well, you made a point of order and I was interrupted. You haven't ruled on that yet. I demand that my time be restored so that I can continue. The people deserve to hear the truth and without being censored by those who are supposed to represent them. May I continue?
you got 47 seconds.
Matt, can you restore my time, the 3 minutes that I'm authorized since I was interrupted? So you're going to allow Mr. Montgomery to interrupt members of the public who
Well,
have
you
come to
s-
speak here?
Now you got 37 seconds.
Okay, I'll continue. Councilman Montgomery running around lawyer shopping like a desperate man clinging to the last vestiges of power. Allegedly, when local attorneys wouldn't take up his meritless case, he ignored their advice and scurried to Baton Rouge to recruit Andrew Kolb, an insurance attorney of all people. Let me tell you, no legal maneuvering will change the fact that this petition is lawful, the language is sound, and the people's will is undeniable. Councilman Darby's open defiance of the people's wishes and brazen declaration that he will never support term limits is nothing short of arrogance. Councilman Free, who claims his constituents don't support
All right,
term
Ms.
limits,
Marriott.
how do you reconcile
Ms.
that with the...
Marriott.
Yes, Mr.
Your
President.
time's up, okay?
Can I finish the last sentence? Since you cut me off again mid-sentence?
Not more than 5 seconds then, okay?
Okay, can I restart that sentence? I'll take that as yes. Thank you, Mr. President.
that's
And
enough.
Councilman Free, who claims his constituents don't support term limits, how do you reconcile that the JMC Analytics poll that's showing 77% of your district is in favor? It's clear this body is more interested in preserving its own power than serving the people.
Charles, did you
post the
have-
rest of this.
Did you have
online.
something to say?
I'm sorry?
Did you have something to say? I saw you
Well, I'm just saying that, you know, slanders, personal remarks, I would just respectfully advise the president of the city council that Mr. Marriott seems to be right on the line.
Thank you.
I'll finish in a moment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Hello, council members. My name's Robert Wright. I live at 6307 West Oxbow Circle, South Bossier City. Well, here we are again, discussing term limits. When there's been more than 3,000 plus signatures twice. I know the first petition was ruled not proper because of the birth date, if I remember correctly. But here we are again. Now, if I remember at the beginning of this, when Mr. Jacobs asked for a legal opinion, is that right, Mr. Jacobs, at the beginning?
A legal opinion was asked, if you're talking about the first term limits petition that
Yes,
came
sir.
to the city, yes, we did request an outside legal opinion that was rendered by Miss Katie Bell of Keen Miller in Baton Rouge.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. One of the things I remember that Mr. Jacobs said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we were doing this to avoid legal fees. Well, right now, we're not avoiding those legal fees because this is going to be a lawsuit if it has not already been filed. These are going to be legal fees that the taxpayers have paid that are going to be spent on something that's frivolous because the rules are clear that y'all should be bringing this forth for a vote of the people. I appreciate y'all's service because I know, I'm going to pick on Mr. McGuire, I know you have been working many, many years for the city and your family has too. But it's time to get this done, more than time to get this done. As I said many, many times ago, it's going to come to election in December or it's going to come to the election in April. It is coming. It will come. It will eventually be passed. It is my opinion that the majority of the citizens want this. Don't spend my tax dollars on legal fees frivolously, please. Let's get this done. Thank you. Oh, one more thing, and help me if I'm wrong with this. It's my understanding in Robert's rules or the rules of the council that someone should be recognized before they speak. I know in other bodies that I'm in, you'll ask for recognition, and then the president would, or the chair, would then recognize them to speak. So if that's what it should be, I would ask you to follow that again. Thank you so much for listening again. Y'all have an awesome day.
Hi, my name's Alice Boyer. My address is 5041 Highway 80 in Houghton. I just wanted to let y'all know that I was one of the people that walked and collected signatures for the petition, specifically in Mr. Free's district. And I want all of y'all to realize that I had no problems getting it. If there were people home, there wasn't very many people. There may have been one or two that didn't have time or they were situational or whatever, but no one had any, they knew what term limits were. They were unhappy about the situation that they were in within the city, and they were glad to. They were enthusiastic. I just wanted everybody on here to know that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, council. We still got a vote?
Comments?
Hmm?
Comments?
Yeah. That's what we've been getting comments. Any comments from the council?
I have a question
Go ahead.
for the mayor. You sponsored this resolution here. Just a question on Exhibit A, the estimated cost of the election as determined by the Secretary of State based upon the similar elections. What would that cost the citizens of Bossier City to run this special election?
I'm not quite sure. Angela, do you have that? I'm sorry, I didn't have that with me.
it through this, and I will, before the meeting ends, I will get it to you. What page is that on in there?
Exhibit A, no, they're not numbered, I guess 2 maybe? That's Exhibit A, there's page 2.
$14,400.
Only 14,000? Okay.
Yeah, $14,400 was the estimate.
And to your point, Mr. Free, I think we're already having an election on December 7th this year anyways, because
on
of
that ballot?
constitutional amendments for the state, so I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's going to be an additional cost to the city.
Right, I think that's why the cost is relatively low, because there will be other things on the ballot.
Okay.
Council, any more questions? Mr. Freed, any more questions?
I do not.
Any other questions?
Just for my own ignorance, Mr. Jacobs, if for whatever reason this were to pass today, what does that do for the impending lawsuit? Does that make it go away?
The council would vote to, the resolution would pass, and if it's not too late now, if you could meet the bond commission and the Secretary of State's deadlines for December 7th, yes, then that would obviate the need for litigation. Unless, citizens or members of the city council, they could still ask for some type of injunction, I would assume. But again, it's a situation where, I've stated I've had a conflict in. So it could, but not necessarily. It's just, again, we're in uncharted waters here, with this, type of litigation, so.
All right, council, please cast your vote.
Motion failed.
There's 6.
All right, we got some reports. Angela?
Good afternoon, Council. Mayor Chandler. You have before you the financials for the month ended July 31st, 2024. Page 1 is revenue by fund. The city's currently 15% over budget. The majority of the decrease in emergency medical service fund revenue is due to a decrease in EMS billings compared to July 2023. Page 2 is expenses by fund. The city is currently 8% under budget. The majority of the increase in general fund expenditures is due to increases in police department software, fire department workers' comp claims, and Shreveport Transit Authority payments compared to July 2023. The majority of the decrease in water fund expenditures is due to decreases in water treatment plant chemicals and electricity compared to July 2023. Page 3 is the sales tax comparative report. Sales tax revenue is down 1.9% compared to July 2023. Page 4 is the manning report. There are 13 more full-time employees than last month. Full-time employees are 45 under budget. There's 1 more part-time employee than last month, and part-time employees are 6 under budget. Page 5 is the water and sewer utility report. Net operating income after debt service for July 2024 has increased 15% compared to prior year. Current year-to-date income has increased 11% from prior year and is 7% under budget. On a rolling 12-month basis, net operating income is up 16%. Are there any questions?
Yeah, in our meeting the other day regarding the budget, we had, Mr. Williams and I had brought up the Halliburton issue.
Yes, sir.
Do we know where that is or what the status? Pardon me, we've got a conversation going back here. We'll wait till they finish.
I apologize for listening so quiet that you can barely hear me, sir. I apologize.
Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir. We'll be sending out in.
Mr. Marriott?
Richard? That's fine. We don't have to do it here if you could.
We do have an
Whatever
update that I'm prepared to send to the council. The gist of it is that our outside counsel is of the opinion that the Halliburton claim is not valid, and we've already sent that to them last week, denying their request for a refund. That will give them the opportunity to file suit in the Board of Tax Appeals if they don't like our determination. But basically, the gist is that their refund request, we believe, is not valid, and we've told them that in writing.
What have they withheld so far over the years? Is it 6 million?
Well, no, sir, they paid the 6 million and the 6.6
Oh, they're asking
million,
for
and they're
that.
asking for a refund.
But
And-
so the only thing that they've withheld so far is the 2 million that we funded as the budget gap, is that correct?
Yes, sir, starting in January of 24.
2025?
Starting in January of 2024, they significantly decreased their sales tax remittance.
Yeah, based on their own calculations, they've reduced their remittance.
So we plug 2 million for the anticipated loss of 2025. What was the loss on 2024, the same? Have they paid any for 2024, or they withheld that?
No, they've paid a very low amount for 2024.
But not 2 million,
Not 2 million, no, sir.
which is what they owe? Potentially.
But
If they
potentially,
lost-
potentially.
I'm assuming that,
Yes, yes.
based on what you said, that their claim is not legitimate. So we would actually get the 2 for 2024 and then the 2 for 2025.
Yes, and I think I was mistaken, it was 2023
It was August of
When they
2023 when they started making
lowering their
lower
payments.
Possibly $1 million there. I mean, I'm just averaging.
It was 700,000 per month.
Yeah.
I don't know,
So what is the board of, I mean, explain that. That's not, is that like an arbitration board or what is?
no, it's a state agency, and they have administrative law judges that hear these type of tax appeals. It's in Baton Rouge, but it covers the entire state. It's essentially a district court for those type of tax issues. And then what Halliburton, I would expect for them to now file suit there in the Board of Tax Appeals. And if the Board of Tax Appeals agrees with our position that it is taxable, and I do believe that it is based on the facts, it has to do with the type of trailers, the weight of trailers, where the trailers are being used. If the Board of Tax Appeals rules in our favor, then they would, I expect, take it to the Court of Appeal, but it would be here in the Second Circuit because the taxing is here in Bossier. And then, I mean, I expect
So
the
it
matter
would
to be
follow the
litigated.
same path through the Court of Appeals, Second Circuit, and then the state Supreme Court?
Correct.
Okay, that's
Correct.
what I was asking.
Correct. And I would expect
And when do
over the
we
next-
expect the board down there to rule?
I think that now that they've received notice of our determination, I believe they have 60 days to file suit, but I'd have to double check on that. But it's a pretty short timeline, once
So
they've received that
by the end of the
determination.
year, we know on this Board of Appeals.
We should. They move pretty quickly.
All right, I was just making the council aware that during our meeting with the mayor and Angela, that was part of the potential deficit, and, we reserved that to take care of that. So essentially, it's sitting in escrow, so that if we get it back, we can reimburse the general fund balance back, so.
Thankfully, the gist is, I think that the refund request is not valid, and so we're not going to pay them any money back. And
Yeah.
then going forward, we just,
We
need
make
to
up
get it
for
resolved.
it out of our fund balance.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Angel, just hang on, we got Mr. Crockett gonna come up, not you, Richard. Maybe you can answer his question.
David Crockett, 653 Dumaine Drive, Bossier City, Louisiana. I have 3 things that come up from these charts that I wanted to address. I think 2 of the biggest elephants in the room ought to be the fact that we've had another shooting in Bossier City and we're still short 14 police. That's an improvement of, I think, of 3 since last month. And I think that that's something that Mr. Darby asked this body about possibly releasing the salary study. So I wanted to mention that as an issue that maybe can be addressed on where you think that you're going to start addressing that issue to potentially raise salaries in the city. Basically, the city's 45 people short in total staffing, and I know that creates a net income or a net benefit to the city, but it does potentially increase the risk. And I also want to thank immensely the police who did an absolutely superior job. It looks like catching another criminal, but I think they need help with more people. The other thing I was going to address to see if the city council has thought about where you're going to go forward is the talk in the city and the parish is now all about rolling millage forward, and we haven't had a millage increase for the last, I think, 8 years or something like that. I think the people are planning their yearly budgets, their vacations and things like that. We all know that millage being rolled forward doesn't just increase rental costs, it increases homeowner costs for all of your citizens, but also it increases my costs because it'll be inflationary at the retail level. And I think that it's going to be a pretty tough issue for the public to take, that you roll forward your taxes at a period following the highly inflationary period that we just went through, which is not, it's slowing down and improving, but there's actually the issue of being in a potential recession right now, and no one really knows. Just as I forecast 3 years ago, it could be worse. We don't know that. I forecasted it would be worse, and it was this year. And then the final thing I wanted to ask Ms. Williamson was, I'm not quite sure where I see this. I don't know the two line items on your revenue by fund. It says sales tax capital fund, that's 130% increase, and then you've got a Parkway capital fund, 153 increase. I don't know if that's because we've got increased revenues, or is that because money was moved into those funds? I just couldn't tell from looking at it. But thank you all, and I appreciate you for indulging me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have an awesome police department. We have an awesome city marshal's office. Our police officers are paid so little, especially at the beginning. Now, you guys know very clearly that training costs a lot of money. Right now, we are training police officers, and we have a very loyal group, so not many of them do it, but we're training police officers for Tyler, Texas, or wherever it is they go. We're spending the money. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we're spending the money. Why don't we spend the money giving our police officers a raise? Now, I don't know the exact number, but I believe if we gave all of them a $20,000 a year raise, get them back where we're not just training people. I think it's $3.4 million. I'm not exactly sure. But I would urge you, please, the number one thing any government does is to ensure domestic tranquility, and it says provide for the common defense or the national defense. The common defense right here is our police department. Then we have ensure the general welfare and the rest of it. So I would encourage you to think about raising police salaries from top to bottom. If you can push it into the budget, which I think the priority should be that, $20,000 a year. Anyway, that's my opinion, and I thank you for letting me speak.
And I'll just comment, we believe me, we think about it a lot. We think about it a lot. Angela, you got anything? Council, you have anything? You
Thank
good?
you.
Hmm? Oh, I thought we got Ben.
Come on up, Ben.
Good afternoon, council.
Ben, you got 3 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, she'll give you a couple extra seconds.
General overview, not much has changed on this particular slide here. I'll jump into the carriageway. Carriageway is right about on schedule. We're showing ahead. A couple of updates on that. The striping is scheduled for after Labor Day. We expect that to take about 7 days to complete with permanent signage following shortly thereafter. This new signal mast arm, that's going to be delivered on 8/30, so here very quickly. We expect that to be complete by September 9th, and we're planning, if all goes well, to open the carriageway to traffic by September 16th. Municipal complex, y'all see it out here. I'm showing it behind, that's predominantly because we're waiting on materials to hit the site and get complete, but I expect once that happens that they'll catch up very quickly. Airline Drive overlay, the new signals there will hit on September 10th, and then again, that project will be closed out. Wahlberg Park, we're showing it behind, but that's only because I've only received one pay application. You can tell that they're much more complete than 8%. Golden Meadows Turn Lane is progressing, it's on schedule. We like the progress we're making down there. The traffic signal upgrade is on schedule. We've got some housekeeping stuff that we're working through right now, but for the most part, all of that equipment has been installed. And then we've got 4 developments. We have Windsor Court, the Park, Edgewater, and Kane's Landing that are progressing on the private side. And this is just a laundry list. You guys have that information there in front of you. Any questions related to these projects?
Not this project, those, but the Benton Road, Shed Road, the grade crossing right there on the track. Do you know when they're gonna be done with that?
Benton Road.
Benton Road and Shed Road, it was supposed to be done, it was supposed to be done over the weekend, 3 weekends ago.
That's a different.
That was a different project.
Oh, that was a
Yeah.
different,
Yeah,
okay.
the work at Shed Road near Benton, at least that required the lane to be closed down, is complete. They're working on, at Shed Road, there's a,
Is it open?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
never
been
mind, my
open.
bad, it's been open since I drove through there.
yeah, it's open.
All right,
It's been open a while.
never mind, I'll take those comments back,
They were closed for 5 business
Yeah.
days.
yeah.
They had to do that.
Long weekend,
Ain't no take backs. Right.
long weekend.
What about Hamilton Road?
Hamilton Road. The concrete placement's supposed to be complete this week with dress up following, so. Getting close, we're gonna start tearing it up again, just FYI, once we get that open.
Good. That sounds like the government.
Hey, I do have one other thing. What you said September the 16th for the carriageway. Is all of that on, well, I still call it Old Benton Road all through there. Is all that gonna be cleaned up?
Yes.
Everything real good before?
We're gonna
before we
have
open?
punch list items for a while. We are, I would be expecting a change order to come to you for the Citizens Bank Drive work that needs to be done. So we're working right now with the formalities associated with doing a partial substantial completion with JB James. We're also looking to add some work to extend all the work on Benton Road. So there's a lot of little hurdles we gotta jump to close it out completely. And I learned today that DOTD has also received a bunch of money for Benton Road as well. So I've got a meeting with DOTD to talk about the city's funding appropriations as well as theirs to make sure we're not all duplicating effort.
Thank you, Ben.
I'm up here more than I usually am.
I
My
know.
name's Robert Wright again. I'm at 6307 West Oxbow Circle. The intersection at Arthur A. Teague Parkway and Shady Grove is just a dangerous intersection. People are running along there 50, 55 miles an hour or more. And then we have folks applying to be idiots by pulling out in front there. And as my understanding is, all of those or most of those accidents are major ones. I know I have my foot off the accelerator and over the brake whenever I approach this intersection. So anyway, I was just going to urge you to look into this issue. Again, I think because of the speed coming along Arthur A.T. Parkway, and I don't like to put lights on Arthur A.T. Parkway because I'd like to see it going through. But I think this is something that needs to be looked at. And that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you again.
I think Ben's listening. Thank you, sir. Council, any more questions? Meeting adjourned.
Robert?